reselling. And only reason why I wanted to bring this up first was because I remember a post you tagged me in on Twitter. There was a woman, I'm sorry I forget her name, but she made a comment that it's not even mainly black folks that are profiting off sneaker reselling. It's mainly like other races and such. Like, what do you guys think?
Me personally, I mean, I don't really know that many white people that resell like that. I mean, I know a handful of them, but I mean, they don't, they ain't out here moving no major weight or nothing like that. It's like they might get lucky on something, and they might sell one or two things here or there. But like most of the people that I know that resell like moving some crazy stuff, they're mostly black dudes. But like this is for us minorities, like this is our culture. Like we do sneakers like that. So it's like, of course we're gonna know where to get them, how to get them, when to get them.
Yeah.
So they do most of the reselling just because they know they hip on it. They know where to go, when to get whatever. The white people ain't that hip on it. So they might get lucky here and there and come across something and they might move it, but they're not making crazy money off of it.
I guess to put in context, for me, I consider reselling someone who makes sneaker purchases, just for the purpose of reselling, and does it at a high scale, not just like I just got these Travis Scotts that weren't my size, I'm gonna resell them. I don't consider that a reseller, but if that's the main thing you do every week, you're looking to buy shoes to resell, then I would consider that reselling. So I guess so I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So
shout out BR 225 versus everybody. You already know.
So demographic is different, obviously, from where you're talking about, from where I'm talking about. I see a lot of, number one, for me, it's usually age, a lot of younger kids. I don't know really anybody over 30 that does a lot of reselling, maybe a couple of people. And for most people I know when I go to the local sneaker events, it's a lot of Asians. It is some white kids. But I guess because I'm black, I do know more black people. I mean, I guess it just only makes sense for it to be that way. So for personal experience, I'm kind of like you. More black people know it. They've been hip to it. But if I had to guess overall, whenever I travel, because I've been to Georgia, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, and a couple other states for SneakerCon and sneaker events and stuff like that, a lot of the people that have tables are white people or Asian people, though. I've seen more of them than black people.
Well, the Asian people is the ones making the shit. Of course they gonna have it all. They got the plug, the rip.
And it's funny you bring that up too, because like as I was thinking about what she had said, I'm like, honestly, it's because I felt like she kind of directed it towards like it's mainly white folks. I'm like, I don't even think that's true actually, because I've came across like more Hispanics, more Asians, and even black folks as well, like that resell more than white folks do.
Well,
but
I'll go with him. What he said is based on age.
Yeah, that's
like when I was living back in Virginia. Still, it was a lot of white kids that used to come buy shoes a lot, but they were like all young, young with their parents and stuff, like bringing them to the mall to buy like 3, 4, 5 pairs of shoes just so they can go walk down the line of people waiting and be like, "Hey, I got this size. You trying to buy it?" But it was with white people mostly.
And it's crazy
young
you say
kids.
that. Before you jump in, I think with other races, parents are more prone and into it. With black kids, they kind of got to do it themselves.
Bingo. Bingo. Because when we was at the sneaker shop this weekend, I forgot which one it was, kids in there with his parents, and his parents like, hey, you can get what you want. And to answer your question, I think if I'm answering it properly, everyone has caught up to the culture. Our culture, I personally and truly believe that, but it's for everyone now. And like me and him discussed yesterday, I think it's for the better. It brings, communities, it brings people together because everyone loves sneakers. Everyone. And I'm not going to sit here and say, does it bother me? It bothers me in a sense, but in reality, I think it's good for everyone because everyone has the shoes. Everyone wants to be hip, wants to be, in the know, I guess you can say. And sneaker culture is trendy. Everybody wants to be trendy.
I think it's what you just said was important because I almost look at it as two tiers, and I think at this table between the four of us, there's a separation between the tiers because you're more old school and you like, you know, the respectability factor and the gatekeepers of what the sneaker culture is and how it's changing, and then there's the new culture that's kind of like when things become more inclusive, it's more respected and it's looked at like finally we're getting the respect we deserve. And there's other that's like we don't care about the respect, we just want the purity of it. So you know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because I like to tell people I'm probably one of the newest sneakerheads like that actually still holds like that original like value to what it was.
I guess.
So
before,
what do you mean by that? Let's elaborate on that.
What is a sneakerhead to you? Because I think that's important.
Yeah. So for me, I treat it as somebody that overall just enjoys sneakers. Like me, I don't care about the prices. Like, heck, even like Charles over at Legend, like he'll tell you, I literally just like to go into his shop and just chop it up with him since he's an OG, and also just look at shoes. Like I've always just enjoyed just looking at shoes because I just admire like just the craftsmanship behind it. So for me, it's always been about the love for the sneakers. Like, you know, like keep in mind, I don't fault anybody for trying to make money. You know, any of us would do it, but when it gets to a point where it's only just about the money, like that's where I kind of gotta like take a step back because I'm not really all for that. Like, I mean this that we're doing right now, I don't do this for money. I mean, I don't get it twisted. I would love to make money off of it. Who wouldn't? But you know, like it's just not all about the money for me. Like I just enjoy like talking with OGs like yourself just about sneakers. Like that's what it is for me.
But why does it bother you that they're making money off?
It doesn't. Like, so here's
like,
what
bothers you about it?
It bothers me that the people that I feel aren't necessarily, how am I going to put this? The people that aren't necessarily in the culture are the ones profiting off of it versus you have creators like yourself, like me, that are actually involved in the culture and, you know, have an appreciation for it. We're not seeing anything from it. Or I'm not sure if you are. I'm not. But I mean, at the same time, I know I still have a lot of work to do.
Right.
So, I mean, I can live with that. But, you know, when you get, like, I call it the TikTok generation, like, that just got into sneakers, like, months ago, and they're already, like, seeing something out of it, like, that don't sit right with me.
But, I mean, I see your point, but you can't fault someone for finding a lane and making money off it.
Exactly.
This is America. We live in a capitalist society.
That's why it's like...
If anyone can find a way to make a profit off it, they're going to do it.
Exactly. That's why it's like... don't get it twisted. Like, yes, it upsets me in the sense, like, that can't be me. But at the same time, it's like, I can't fault it. You feel me?
Great example. It's kind of like... I'm sure... I think you may contest to this. It's kind of like... I even have a habit of like, I hate all this mumble rap and blah blah blah. You know, hip hop has evolved. Yes. So I'm not gonna be the old man, get off my lawn. Like, yeah, we all like, you know, Tupac, Nas, Biggie, and Hov growing up. But there's a new wave and a new lane, and I mean, it's all part of the culture. And I kind of, you know, use that in regards to sneakers. You have the OG sneakerheads and you have the new sneakerheads, but it's all the sneaker community, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
See, the sneaker community, I agree. It is all the community for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, there's levels to this, and it's just like these new cats coming in. It's like, oh, Panda Dunks are the greatest sneaker ever. Like, no, stop it.
So what do you don't like about the Panda Dunks? You don't like it because everybody wants it or has it, or you really just think it's a trash shoe?
The quality of materials is trash.
So that's all dunks or just Panda Dunks?
Well,
and I'm not talking about SB dunks. We're just talking about regular.
Yeah, regular dunks.
Yeah, regular.
It's. I mean, there should be no reason these things are reselling for $400.
I agree with you on that.
That material and the quality it's not there. It just ain't.
The only one I can justify are the casinos, just because the quality.
That's a different level.
Yeah, that's definitely
a different.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's not even the same.
It is a dunk though, right?
But it's not a university dunk.
I feel you.
The Pandas are university dunks, basically. That whole university dunk, all of these colors, all of this the same.
Okay, so I have a question. So if the Pandas or the universities, whatever, whatnot, were not going for, you know, above resale by $100 to $200, like $450, would you still have a problem with the sneaker?
It's not. that I have a problem with the sneaker.
Yeah.
I have a problem. I can't even say it's a problem. It's just more like I don't understand it. It's just like, why is there so much hype around it? It's just like, it's just not. It's basically a Van shoe. It's a simple,
it's funny.
plain.
I did compare the dunks.
It is. It's basically like Vans. It's a simple, plain shoe. No cushioning, no technology, no nothing.
Yeah.
And it's selling for $400. Yeah. It's just like, why? Why is this $400? This is not worth $400.
What shoe is worth $400 to you? That's not a collab, just a regular release shoe. I'm very curious.
400. Let's see what resales for $400 is regular.
While you're thinking about it, I will say I do like the fact that Nike is continuously restocking and putting out the black and white.
Oh yeah,
I do like the fact that they are like putting it out there
over and over.
You know, because it's like the people who want it, they can get it.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean,
I feel like that's
they should do
it's
that.
like I
with
was just
everything.
telling him, if you have not gotten a pair for retail by now, you're doing something wrong, in my opinion. Because it's like, take Yeezys, for example. How many times are Zebras re-released?
Yeah.
Everybody should have had the chance.
Yeah.
Had the chance to get a Zebra for retail if you wanted it.
Right.
I feel the same about Panda Dunk.
Oh no! I mean, if you put in
shoes.
for every raffle that was out for those, you should have hit on at least one by now.
And you know, speaking
At least
of
one.
going for these shoes, like, how do you guys feel about like entering for shoes? Like, do you guys just enter for everything, or do you only enter for stuff you want?
So you go first.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday.
I hate raffles. I never win. I never win. I'm jealous because I can never win a raffle. So me, I don't put in for everything because I don't care about reselling. Like if I put in a raffle for a shoe, it's a shoe I really want.
Right.
Now the last shoe I actually put in a raffle for were those patent leather bread ones. I really wanted those. And when I didn't win, I said, man, it's just trash. Like I never win. And he used to take care of me when I was back at home. Like this is who I was talking about on the Sneak This podcast that got me into sneakers. So when we were back in Baton Rouge, if he couldn't get them, I wouldn't get them. And here, you know, my connect, not Taurus. Well, shout out to Taurus because he used to hook me up, but he moved to Korea. And AJ, he's my connect here. So if AJ can't get it for me, I'm just not going to get them. And I don't mind paying resale if resale isn't ridiculous because I hate the raffle system and I have this conspiracy theory that is rigged anyway. I really feel that way. Funny story.
It is rigged.
So I had, I don't know what raffle I had put in for at Shoe Palace. This was years ago. So I didn't win. And then like a month later, they said, yeah, you want a Katrina 3s. No, what are the Katrina 3s? The white and
The
red.
white with the red, yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even put in for these. So it's like, it just goes to show that it's so rigged. I hate the raffle system. But I'm going on a tangent. But to answer your question, no, I don't put in for everything. I only put in for shoes I really want.
I agree. I mean, there was times like I did just put in for whatever, but then like it kind of got to a point where I started thinking about it like, you know, say I win and I really don't want these. I'm potentially taking them away from somebody that actually wants them. So I didn't feel right doing it. Nowadays, I do enter for myself or to help my size 10 group, but that's totally different because at least I know if I win, they're going to somebody that actually wants them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you fully.
But to your point, a quote from The Wire, the game is the game.
Exactly.
I mean, if you don't say like, hey, you know, I want someone else that's going to get them, they're going to get them and they're going to resell.
Exactly.
So you might as well get yours in the sneaker game.
Yep.
Yeah. I what you saying about it's rigged, the online raffle system is 100% rigged. Mm-hmm. Like the Foot Locker was they got the Flex app?
Yeah.
I deleted all that.
But it's rigged.
Yeah.
Like I talked to one of my homeboys was the assistant manager at Foot Locker, right? And he was asking me, oh, did you put the raffle in for whatever? I'm just like, hell no. He's like, why not? I was like, because I don't win. I'm like, when it comes to the Foot Locker app, like the Flex app stuff, I don't ever win.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's the point? It's like, I'm not going to win. And he was like, well, what size shoe do you wear? I was like 10 and a half. And he was like, oh, that's why. And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, well, I wear a 10 and a half and one of the other guys here wears a 10 and a half. So he was just like, he was like, the stuff that gets put up on the raffle is like excluding because they get first priority.
Right,
so they're able to get their size. So he was just like, if we get them, then there is no 10 and a half for you to get. And that's why you don't ever win.
Yeah.
He was just like, it works that way, and you have to spend a lot of money in the store in order to even be like in that top tier.
Yeah.
Cause like he was saying if you're in that cause I'm in the top tier, like the gold or whatever the hell it is. I'm in that. But I don't buy shoes from Foot Locker all the time. So he's just like, well, if you don't buy shoes here like at least 3 times a month, then you ain't gonna win. He was like, it goes off of how many points you rack up. So he was like, if you buy 3 to 4 pairs of shoes a month, you gonna be up here. So this gonna look at you first. So he was like, the people that buy a lot of shoes here, they're the ones that win the raffles the majority of the time. It's the ones that spend the money. Yeah. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, I ain't doing all of that, man. I'm not buying a pair of shoes just for the sake of buying it. I'm like, if it ain't nothing that I want in here, I'm not buying nothing.
No.
So, no.
Do you feel it is important for us as sneakerheads to kind of be into other stuff? Because, like, we were having that conversation with Rico when we went out. And,
shout out Rico.
Yeah, shout out Rico. Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Shout out Rico, man.
you know, I was kind of telling him how, like, it's hard for me to make content. I don't know if you kind of struggle with this. It's hard for me to make content just because I'm into so much like other stuff, you know, and it just ranges that it's like I can't just sit here and talk about sneakers like for like a whole day like some people can that I've encountered. Like, what do y'all think about that?
I mean, it just depends. If someone is into sneakers, that's their thing, that's their only thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's weird because some people, that's just all they know and that's all they care about.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm big on range. I like to have my hands in many different things.
Exactly.
So I have a lot of different interests. But I'm not going to say that's wrong for only caring about sneakers. People are just different. Everyone's different.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm not saying anything's wrong.
Some people are just like, they have that single, you know, where they have one hobby and they just focus on just that.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how some people get down. But I mean,
yeah, because like I always tell people, like I know when me and him are hanging out, they think it's crazy that we can literally jump from sneakers and they can move on to like sports, to cars. We can talk about, you know, like philosophy, religion, science. Like we can jump to so many different topics and then somehow end right back up in shoes. And It's like, how can you do that? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, me personally, like, I think I told you, like, how I got my start even in sneakers was actually cars, like, out of all places. And a lot of people don't realize that it intertwines with each other. Like, SEMA Auto Convention, one of the biggest, like, automotive conventions in the world.
Yeah.
It is literally, like, a car person's paradise as well as it can be a sneakerhead's paradise because you're seeing so much, like, hype shoes. Like, hey, I remember when that one like multicolored Yeezy was just about to come out, like roughly in 2019. I had saw them there, and I was like bugging out because I'm like, those don't come out till like December. Keep in mind, this was November. I'm like, how do you have a pair already? And then that's when I got introduced to reps.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, like, yeah, but it's like it just always trips me out. Like, you know, is it a good thing or a bad thing to be into other things, especially with us being sneaker content creators?
For me, I say it's always a good thing. I always feel like having diversity and expanding knowledge and what it is that other interests and stuff like that is always a good thing of being able to. It's funny because now being older, I'm married, I have a daughter, so I'm real big on time and intentional time, and being able to expand for so much because everything. I'm not huge on social media strolling. I post a lot, and the biggest misconception, I don't know what camera I need to look at. A lot of people be asking me, did I see stuff on social media? I'm like, no. And they say, but I see that you post. I do. I post and I get off. I don't scroll much because I have, time-wise, I don't have a lot of time to just take up scrolling and stuff. So for me, it's important as far as from a mental standpoint of being able to acquire knowledge and read and do a lot of other different things. But I know that time is short and I have to kind of stretch it between, all right, being a husband, being a father, personal for myself, just, mental health and for in a positive way, being a creator, I have a job, so I'm an employee, a worker and stuff like that. So I carry many titles and hats. So, just time is limited. So I try to kind of catch what I can as far as just expanding and stuff like that. But I agree. I feel like, and another reason I think it's important to expand because back at home, we've done events with car shows and sneakers and stuff like that. I feel like the more you expand and the more you know, the more you can take the sneaker brand and place it in these different areas and help it expand. Because if you're just into, and there's nothing wrong with being just into sneakers, because I think it takes all of us for the community to thrive and be what it is.
Right.
I think you need the diehard people that are into sneakers. I think you need the people that are into sneakers and into other stuff. But in order to bring something somewhere else, you need to learn and know about it in order to be out and about and, expand the culture and stuff like that. So
I agree with that. But I think personally that you should have, like you said, range.
Yeah.
You get, because you never know who you meet.
Right.
It's like you could run into anybody that's anywhere, and it's like it's hard to network if you don't know what you're talking about. So you got to be able to sit in a room with anybody and be able to vibe. You can't just be, well, he can hang out with sneakerheads and he vibe over there, but when you put him in the room with somebody that's talking about this, he's sitting there like a fish out of water. It's like you got to be able to be comfortable anywhere.
To add on to his point, like, I always pride myself in being able to have enough knowledge in almost everything just to at least be able to hold a conversation,
right?
Or at least take interest in whoever I'm speaking with. Just because I feel that's definitely important. Because, like you said, you never know who you're gonna run into, and you obviously don't know what their interests are. So as soon as they start talking with you about whatever they're interested in, you at least want to be respectful enough to take an interest in what they're speaking about, because you just don't know sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, but if you don't know about it, there is ways to talk.
Exactly.
Like you know something.
Like you learn about
but you ask questions as you're talking, and then you kind of get
See, everyone doesn't have that skill. I totally agree.
You got there is ways to get around if you don't know.
Certain people, if they have the knowledge, like you say, if you just ask questions, they'll just feed it to you. You don't even have to be actively participating in.
It's like you can still acquire the knowledge from them without looking dumb trying to do it. You can still do that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I was gonna say, what are y'all interested in? I've only known you for roughly 2 months now.
It's been just 2 months.
I know, crazy, right? I always feel like you one of my best friends for years now. Because like I told you, I like almost everything. Cars, music, sports, etc., etc.
I'll let you go first.
Things I'm into, sports, of course. Who's not into sports?
My dad. That's not even capping. My dad is not into sports.
I know a couple of people that are not into sports at all.
Me and my mom are the sports junkies.
So, your mom?
Yeah.
I was just about to say,
me and my
the guys that I know are not into sports, their wives are into sports. But they don't care about sports at all.
My mom, she watches basketball, football, golf. She's the sports junkie. And I'm a sports junkie, but my dad is not.
Well, to answer your question, I'm into sports, fashion, just worldly issues, politics. I have a thirst for knowledge. I just Google and random current things. Like, it'll be times I'll text people, hey, fun fact of the day, this, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, Tim, but have a natural curiosity. If I see something on TV and I'm like, let me Google that, and I just like knowing about different things, just for my personal satisfaction.
I feel it.
I'm kind of a history nerd myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
American history, all history, or?
On anything. Like just, I don't know. It's like I'll just be looking at something and it'll just catch my attention, and I'm like, all right, let's see what this is about. You know, it's random, but I love like history, like history stuff.
Geography. I'm real big on geography.
That too. Yeah.
If you ever notice, if when I'm around someone, I always ask them what high school they went to. Because if I meet someone and I'm familiar with the area, I always like to ask what high school they went to.
Yeah.
And, just kind of see where they come from or where they went to school at. I'm not going to say it's going to give me a judgment of who they are, but just give me some sort of perspective.
Oh, like I told you, I literally went to high school right down the street.
The aisles.
He showed me today. We passed by.
Yeah.
All of the aisles.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, crazy enough, one thing a lot of people don't know that I'm actually really into, I like just the building of houses. Like, I've always enjoyed, like, just designing houses and, like, just designing interiors, et cetera, et cetera. It was something I really wanted to get into, but obviously I didn't want to go to college, you know. That's a whole other rant that I'll get into another time. But, so it's something that in the future I would definitely love to build my own house / just design my own house. And it's just interesting, like, talking with other singers, because you get to talk with some interesting people. I mean, ever since starting this whole project, I can't even begin to tell you how many just interesting people I ran into, and that was why I started it. I just wanted to have good conversations with people.
Yeah.
Just because you never know what you're going to learn.
Absolutely.
Networking is super important.
Oh, yeah.
I think that everyone should be more open to it.
Yeah.
It's everyone likes to kind of hang in their own cliques in their own circles and never venture outside of that. And I mean,
and I'm doing better of it. I'm a victim of it, because I'll be honest, if I have a group of friends and I have my crew, I'm good. And he knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
I get you.
And now
when I met you the first time, we was talking about that.
And now I'm more open because I have to branch out. Because again, just like you said, you never know who you're gonna meet or who you may run into.
I mean, I'm a victim of that. I used to be that way.
Yeah. When
I was in high school, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was cool with a lot of people, but when it came to like kicking it like that, I had my circle, and that was it. But now I mean, out here it's been a little bit of a challenge moving out here for me, honestly.
Yeah, I can totally understand.
I mean, it's like the people out here since 2016.
16, so
about 6 years.
Oh, 6 years, okay.
And it's like the people out here, like, they just, it's a different vibe, when I would meet other car people, because I'm like a big car fanatic. So I go out to car meets and talking to different people. And when you talk to people and you hear their mentality, it's just kind of like, what in the hell are you talking about? I mean, these guys are like, they're younger than me, by a couple years. They got like 6, 7 kids, 5 baby mamas. They don't want to travel. They don't want to leave Arizona. We're talking about traveling, and they like, why you want to travel and go see that? Like, why would you want to do that? And I'm like, why would you not want to do that?
I don't think you can blame Arizona because I feel that's everywhere. If you go anywhere to like a small town where people have a limited perspective, they haven't had many life experiences.
But this ain't a small town, brother. This is not a small town.
I agree with you. I
mean, if we were somewhere in like up north in a small town somewhere, I could understand that.
All right, let me reword it.
This is the metropolitan area.
Well, let me reword it. People that never travel and don't have many life experiences, no matter where they're from or where they're at, is going to have that perspective, if that makes sense. If I never really been anywhere and I'm stuck in my bubble, because I remember I was talking to my old barber, Tommy, shout out Tommy, years ago, and he would go down to LA, and he said, Tim, you'll be amazed at how so many guys have never left their section, whether it's Watts, Compton, etc. Like, they've never even been to the beach. And I would assume, living in LA, you've at least been to the beach, you've been to Beverly Hills, some people only feel comfortable in like that.
But it's a reason for that. It's a reason for that. Mentality. If you've been to LA,
yeah,
you see how it's like you hear, but if you walk on this side of the street, you in this gang's territory, and you might get shot up. Like that's why they don't leave, because you don't know where you can go. If you go over here, you'll get shot. You go over here, you'll get shot.
But I'm talking like a tourist area.
Like to do other things, and we're not afraid of expanding. And it's like most of the people that I've met here are not on that, but everywhere else that I've lived, and I mean, I was in the military, so I've been around a lot of places. And this is the only place it's been like, man, like this is like real tough to like
so I see your
meet people that are like on some different type of shit.
So is it more of just Arizona natives or people that came here that's from other places?
Oh, most of them are here. Like they were born and raised here.
Okay.
Well, let me ask y'all this, because this is a good question that a lot of people have given me different answers. Do you think it is a problem specifically with us as black men? Do you think it's a problem with those in our culture not wanting to go experience like things outside of where they're from? Because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was telling him like, oh man, I love being out of the country, honestly. Like, and he tells me he's a little too nervous to, and he wasn't sure like how he's gonna get treated as a black man. And I remember telling you when I was in Japan, ironically, guess who did not speak to me? People that looked exactly like him, and that tripped me out because I'm like, we're literally like a 1 in a million out here, and you're like basically brushing me off, so that didn't make sense to me. But other than that, I got showed more respect out in these countries that I'm not even really supposed to be in, for real, versus a country that I'm born and from. Like, so that tripped me out. But what do y'all think?
So let me go first, because mine will be super quick. For me, I definitely think you should get out of your comfort zone and travel, but you got to have that push to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask Tremaine. At one time in my life, I wasn't leaving Baton Rouge. I had that. I ain't gonna say I had that weapon mentality, because I ain't no thug. I ain't shooting nobody. But I had that mentality like, I'm born in Baton Rouge. I'm gonna die in Baton Rouge. I'm not leaving. And I had a life experience. I guess you could say a life experience where it wasn't a death in the family or anything. It was more of, okay, Tim, you need to make a decision. You're out of school. Majority of your friends have their jobs, and this is post-college. And I had some family that lived in Tucson, and I was supposed to go for a visit. And I ended up just going and staying, and then that was the best decision I've ever made. Okay. And you only know what you know. So if you never left, you don't know anything else. So to answer your question, I definitely think it's really important to leave where you come from, because you can always go back. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be international. Like, I think people really sleep on the different states and the different cities the United States of America has to offer. Yes. Now, traveling abroad, definitely. If you can afford it, I totally recommend anyone to travel abroad. But don't sleep on the little nest eggs, or I'm sorry, not nest eggs, the little gems we have here in the USA.
I mean, for me personally, I think that, like you said, it's important for people to get out of where they come from. Because like you said, you can always go back. You don't have to stay out of that place, but it's important to see other things. And as far as the traveling international thing, he was talking about, like, I know who you're talking about when you were saying about he's nervous to travel out as like
I told him he watches too many movies.
Yeah, it's not, to be honest, it's not even like that anywhere, because most places outside of the U.S., you know, because us as minorities, we, you know, in certain places in America, we get looked at like,
absolutely.
You know, we get looked down on like hard. Outside of the country, it's not like that. Like, they don't have that like racist mentality. It's just like they see us as, oh, he's American.
American first. Before
exactly.
That's it. They don't look at it like, oh, well, you know.
Which Australia,
you know,
really shocked me. Like, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
like Europe is the same. Like he was about to say Australia, he's like, they not on that. Europe is that way too. Like Europe is very, you know, they don't really care. It's just kind of like, oh, you're American. Oh, that's cool.
Well, Crazy thing is about Australia, I thought, because I always got taught they didn't like us over the whole situation at the Olympics where, they held up Black Power. And I found out it was an Australian man that actually gave them the gloves. And apparently he got like disowned from his family, disowned from the country, et cetera, et cetera. So I had gotten taught they didn't like us because of that. So I go there, and to my surprise, they were actually very interested in learning about our culture. And it came to a shock to them when I told them, if you came out to the States as a white Australian, you're going to be treated better than I am. And I'm from there. That's the crazy part. And they took it as such a shock. Like, it almost shocked me just what they're taught about us. Because, I started off with asking them, like, what are you guys taught about America? And, they tell me, we're taught that, it's a lot of racism and Donald Trump is ruining it. And I just chuckled. I'm like, I'm not even going to speak on that dude because I personally don't care about dude. Yeah. But it was just so funny, like, as we got to talking, because I'm like, oh, wow. It's just a different perspective, just hearing how we're perceived to them versus how they're perceived to us.
Well, outside of, us, everyone outside of America, they actually enjoy American culture. Yeah. You go, like, in Japan, they have a lot of people that like American culture. Like,
remember Snoop said that when he travels to do concerts out there.
They love Americans in Japan. Well, they don't love, I won't say all of them do. Like the OGs, they don't necessarily, they don't care about us coming to chill there, but they don't want us living there.
Yeah. So, which I kind of took that as it's kind of how we are in a sense, which I can't fault anybody.
Yeah, I mean that's
I get it. Yeah.
But I mean they like American culture. I mean, you see an American like a Corvette in Japan, they lose their mind over that kind of stuff. I mean,
crazy, right?
The same thing. It's like that in Europe too.
Yeah.
You see like guys on the base and they have like their cars from here that they take with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love that over there because it's something that they don't have. Just like Americans, we love stuff that we don't have, and everybody else is like that too.
Sneakerheads, love stuff,
love stuff that we don't,
Crazy, right?
Like it's crazy. Like I got a couple of homeboys that are still in Japan, and like the sneaker scene over there and how they can get stuff, they can get it straight from China. Right. Like they have malls in China that sell. I mean, he'll like send me pictures of the wall and all of the stuff that sells out immediately here is sitting over there.
Chilling. I forgot the guy's name.
Shanghai.
Yeah.
I know Jay too. Yeah, Jay be posting them up too. Yeah. But man, my homeboys will see me like, hey man, you see this? They got out. It's like
I hear
everywhere.
I want to go to a sneaker convention out there because I've watched some videos on YouTube of guys that go to ones and a lot of different shoes that we didn't care about at the sneaker conventions and stuff are like. One of the main shoes. They had a shoe, I want to say Nike made it. It almost looked like a baseball, and it was kind of stitched along the side. I know that was like one of the big shoes. I cannot think of the shoe name. I'm going to have to pull it up. But yeah, I know that, like you said, the culture stuff is way different in a lot of places overseas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Tim, I appreciate you for letting us use your space. Definitely glad to finally meet you. He speaks about you all the time.
Greatly appreciate that.
And definitely, I do want to go to your neck of the woods. I know y'all talk about Baton Rouge all the time. I definitely need to make a trip out there.
I ain't never been to Baton Rouge, but I've driven through Louisiana, and I didn't really have too much of a crazy experience in Louisiana, but Mississippi though.
Oh yeah, I got a family out there.
We stopped in Gulfport, man.
Oh, Mississippi is
I thought we had to be worried about the white folks, and I was just like the black folks was worse. they were more racist than the white people because it was like they seen like me and my family and they was like looking at us all sideways, and then you got the white folks over here looking at us all sideways, and it's just like damn, like we just outnumbered down here. It's like we